Hi, my name is Mark Rosengarten, and welcome to my new vlog. No idea what to call it yet. I'll figure that out when I get home. So here I am on sunsetwx.com to take a look and see what kind of sunrise situation we are going to have. And if we take a look, I'm located right here in this little narrow corridor. So it doesn't look like it's going to be particularly spectacular. Certainly not like it would be, let's say, down here in the Delmarva Peninsula. But, you know, it's worth a shot still. Another website I like to use, which is cleardarksky.com. My nearest station, which is up in New Paltz, is showing absolutely no cloud cover, really good transparency, which means that the sunrise is going to be more or less a dead clear sky. So what I have to hope for is some decent photos of fall foliage in the very early morning hours. So I'm pulling into New Paltz now, and just a cursory look at the sky. There doesn't appear to be a cloud anywhere in it. We're getting closer to sunrise, so I may have to adjust my plan on the fly. The sky may not be interesting enough to photograph, but the leaves are still look kind of green. I mean, it is the middle of October up here in Upstate. No, there's some change. But it's certainly not the change you would expect for the middle of October up here in the Hudson Valley. Well, we'll get there and see. Okay, I'm at the site down at the boat landing. And we're going to set up. We've got a nice shot down the river here. And I think for this shot, I'm going to stick with my trusty 16 to 55 f2.8 lens. I'm shooting a Fuji X-T2. I've named my camera Nyana. Yes, I know that's weird, but I have this tendency of naming all of my optical gear. I've named every telescope I've ever owned. Okay, let's see what we can see. All right. Nice fog. The fog is moving very quickly across the water. So I'm going to want a reasonable shutter speed here. Actually, maybe not. Maybe I can blur this fog here. Let's see. I'm going to bump my aperture up to, let's see, f13. I'm in an ISO of 200. Manual focus, that way I can really see. There's a really nice feature on the X-T2, actually all the X cameras, where you've got a hyperfocal distance indicator, and it makes setting manual focus a breeze. The autofocus is really awesome with this, but if you're not in a hurry, the manual focus is pretty fantastic. Now I've got this set up as a 4-second exposure, so I'm going to get my remote control. It's a USB connector, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it gets the job done. All right, let's see. Let's see. Oh, that's gorgeous. That'll do very nicely. I'm going to change my perspective a little bit. I'll drop this down. Got to be careful. There's some mud on the ground here with some obvious sliding footprint. All right, let's get this down a little bit. There we go. Oh yeah, that's lovely. That's lovely. Nice reflection on the water. Absolutely beautiful. Now let's just set up for a 2.5-second exposure. I'm going to underexpose it slightly. One of the beautiful things about the X-T2 sensors, you can underexpose this all day long and you're not going to have any problems at all because of ISO invariance. It's delightful. All right. And that ought to be gorgeous. And it is. Yeah, you have a hard time missing with this camera. Right now I have this set for for Velvia. So RAW plus JPEG, the JPEG that it captures is going to be in a more saturated, absolutely beautiful, wow. Starting to get some alpenglow behind, some pink in the sky. As the sun comes up before it rises, what's happening is it's refracting through the upper atmosphere, and so the red wavelengths are getting bent more sharply than the blue or the green. And so we get this lovely pink glow in the background. You get it every morning, whether it's clear or not. But it's really adding a nice cast to this shot. So I'm gonna back it out just a little bit to capture as much of that alpenglow as possible. Level this shot up. Oh, that's gorgeous. All right, now let's see. One of the advantages to shooting with Fuji, so you have an electronic viewfinder as opposed to an optical viewfinder, which I don't really miss at all. This gives me a preview of what I'm shooting. Ooh, slidey mud. So I can see what my shot's gonna look like before I even take it. All right, let's zoom in a little bit. Shooting the other direction really won't get me anywhere. Not much of a shot to be had from there. We're at a point now where it's light enough that if I want a decent length of exposure, I'd need to throw a neutral density filter on, and I'm not going to do that. Contrast is just bad from this angle. The lighting is just wrong, and there's nothing behind it to really make this shot pop, so I'm not going to waste any more time on that. But it doesn't hurt to give it a shot. Maybe you get lucky. Maybe just turn back around and shoot what you were shooting. Oh yeah, now the fog is lowering a little bit. I had a clear shot of the mountain earlier. The mountain is completely obscured. And the trees around the bend of the Wallkill are obscured by fog. It makes for a lovely shot. The leaves are just turning. Just a frosting of yellow on them. Not much color yet. And now we've lost the fog on the mountain. The mountain is now completely clear in the background. And there is some color to it. So I think what I'm going to do is leave this spot and head closer to the mountain. I'm looking at is that the Traps right now, or is that Millbrook Mountain? And there seems to be a fair amount of color there, so I want to capture that. So I'm going to go down Denison Road, and I'm going to capture the early morning sunrise on this horse farm that's out there. So I'm going to leave this behind now, turn that off, and let's head off to the farm. Not Denison Road, I'm sorry, this is Shaft Road off of Brunswick Road. It's frost, it's below freezing. Of course, it's really difficult getting horse photos because it doesn't seem to matter where you are. The horse is always going to have its butt towards you. For these shots, I'm using 55 to 200, setting it at f2.6, because I do want a reasonable shutter speed in case that horse moves. Now it's time to go home and process the images.